All right, so I know some of you guys didn't join the meeting yesterday to hear how important this stuff is here, but the stuff that's on my screen now, and pretty much it's going to be the first thing that we do before every single meeting, is just to answer a couple of questions. It's just getting you ready for the algebra EOC. So when you're doing this, make sure you don't lose your papers or anything like that. You keep it in one nice big pretty pile, because then at the end of the quarter, we're going to submit all of that stuff. It's going to be 2 test grades. It's just an easy way to boost your grade last minute before the end of the quarter. So make sure you hold on to it. You actually get all of this work done little by little every single day. And make sure you show your work as you're going through it. And then each time I will also give you guys the answers so you can actually check your work. But I even gave you a couple little tips for this too. Like for number 9, it was asking about perimeter. I just reminded you perimeter, that's where you add all the sides. And then number 10 was area. I gave you that formula. That's the length times width. I know sometimes you guys get those two things mixed up, so I wrote those in there for you. And then number 11, it's asking for how many of the equivalent expressions equal the one that's in our question. And I told you exactly, there are 2 of them that are correct. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys the answer key. I want you guys to check them. You're only looking at numbers 9, 10, 11, because yesterday we did numbers 1 through 8, and then today is numbers 9, 10, 11. So just go ahead and check your answers. Make sure you have them. If you made a mistake, please fix it and figure out where you made your mistake. And then you can talk to me now in the chat about those questions 9, 10, 11, or you can send me a message later and we can go over it together. But I need you guys to make sure you show your work each time you do this, and you have the correct answer. So if you guys, does anybody have any questions on numbers 9, 10, 11? Do you want me to go over any of these with you guys, or is everyone good? If you're good, just give me like a thumbs up or say that you're good in the chat so we can get started on the assignment for today. But I'll wait a little bit longer to let you guys check your answers. But pretty much, like I said, this is just to get you guys ready and prepared to review everything we've done so far this year, to get you ready for the algebra EOC. That's the test, the exam you take at the end of the school year. It's going to be like halfway through May when you guys take your exam, and that's the test that you have to pass in order to graduate. Okay, so I'm going to go over these questions, numbers 9, 10, 11. Number 9, it says, what is the perimeter of the quadrilateral shown below? That's where you're going to add all of this sides. So I'm going to show my work. Let me see if I have space over there. Yeah. So I'm going to show my work here. So I'm going to take this. Whoops. Let's go ahead and add all these together. So we have this plus this plus this plus this. So I'm going to go ahead and write everything out. So we got my first one, 2x plus 5. Or actually, let me show you an easier way to do this. Okay, I'm going to go through and do this a little bit easier so we don't have to write down like a million things. Let's do this a little bit easier. So when you're writing your answer, you want to put it in standard form. I think they also have it in standard form there. Let me double check. This is number 9, yeah. For putting it in standard form, that's your highest exponent first. Alphabetical order, highest exponent first. I'm going to erase all these circles so we can see it a little bit better. So looking at all of these terms, pretend like it's in one big line, the side 1 plus side 2 plus side 3 plus side 4. Pretend like it's in one big line. And then what you would do is you would put it in standard form to combine like terms and then get your final answer. Instead of putting it in one big line, we're just going to keep it in like this little rectangle area here. You can see our highest exponent is the x squared family. Okay, so I just circled all of the x squared family. So let's go ahead and combine all of those 3 here, and we're adding them together. So I'm going to put the invisible 1 in front of both of these here, so it's 1x squared. And then let's add those together. What do I get when I combine the 1x squared plus 4x squared plus 1x squared? What do I get? What's my new coefficient? Really, all you're doing is adding those numbers. 1 plus 4 plus 1 is 6. So now I have a 6, and then I've got the x squared. So I combine this, this, and this. Perfect. I see someone typed in the chat there. Awesome. Don't forget the x, though. Okay, now going on to our next highest exponent. I'm going to get a different color. Let me try. I'll do blue. Then we've got this 2x, 2x, and a negative 3x. I think that's our next highest one there. What do I get when I combine those 3 terms together? So really just combine your numbers. 2, and then you can do it in any order. Just be careful because that 3x, it's negative 3x. So if it helps, you can even write it down. 2x and then plus negative 3x plus 2x. So you got to be careful when you're combining those. What I would do personally is I would combine the positives together. The 2x plus 2x is 4x. And then from there, we get 4x. And then do the minus 3x. I think that's probably going to be a little bit easier because we can easily do the 4 minus 3. We don't have to deal with any negatives. And then 4 minus 3 is 1. So then we get a positive 1x. But remember, in math, the 1 is invisible. So I'm going to erase that 1. Okay, so we combined all of our blues. I'm going to get a new color. Let's do our last one. We have a positive 5 and a negative 6. So what do I get when I combine those two together here? And you're adding them all together, so you can say 5 plus negative 6, or you can say negative 6 plus positive 5, or negative 6 plus 5. It doesn't matter the order that you combine them in. As long as you're putting your signs in there correctly, you're still going to get the same answer. And I see someone wrote negative 1. That is correct. So here's my negative 1. And then there you go. That is your final answer there. That's kind of a little bit easier to do it instead of putting everything out side by side, like this plus this plus this plus this. Just a little bit faster to go through it there. Okay, number 10. So this was our answer for number 9. Going on to number 10. Number 10 says, what is the area of the rectangle shown below? Area equals length times width. I gave you guys that formula. Okay, so you're just multiplying the two sides together. One side times the other side. So I'm going to put it, let's see, maybe I can squish it inside the actual rectangle. I'm going to zoom in so we can see better here. And it helps if you put them in parentheses. So I'm going to put them in parentheses. Okay, so let's go ahead and put them out next to each other. One side times the other side. And you can put it in any order. It doesn't matter. First, I'm going to do the x minus 5, and then I'll do the 4x plus 2. If you put it out the other way around, that's fine. You'll still get the same answer as long as you do the math correct. Like if you put the 4x plus 2 first, and then the x minus 5, that's fine. Doesn't matter. As long as you have them in parentheses. And then from here, we're going to do FOIL. So we've got x times 4x. Multiply your numbers. 1 times 4 is 4. And then we've got our x. Add the exponents. 1 plus 1 is 2. So I got a 4x squared. And then my outer. We have 1x times 2. Multiply your numbers. 1 times 2 is positive 2. And then bring down the x. And then we've got our inner. Negative 5 times 4x, multiply your numbers, so I get negative 20, and then bring down the x. And then last, negative 5 times positive 2 is negative 10. And then from there, we can combine like terms, these two here in the middle. What do I get when I combine 2x minus 20x? What do I get? Negative 18x, perfect. So we get negative 18x, and then just bring down the front, 4x squared, and the back, negative 10. And then there you go. That's your answer. We can't combine it anymore. Okay, so that's number 10. And then our last one, number 11. It says, Emily realizes that the expression, this one here, x squared plus 4x plus 3 can be written many equivalent ways. Select all expressions below that are equivalent. Okay, so it said the two answers. I'm going to do this a little bit easier here. Since we already have the answers, it said x plus 3, x plus 1, which was the first one here. So this one and 2x squared plus 5x minus 3 minus x squared, this one here. So it's these two here. What I would recommend you doing for solving this one is I would just go ahead and simplify all of these equations. So it's going to take you a little bit of time to go through it. I'm not going to go through all of them. I'll just do like the first 3 so you guys can actually see it there. So let's go ahead and FOIL out this first one, the x plus 3, x plus 1. We're going to FOIL it out, and anything that equals our question here means it is equivalent. It's equal. Okay, so again, we're going to FOIL it out. First times first, and then I get x squared. Then outer times outer, so I get plus 1x. Inner times inner, so I get plus 3x. Last times last is plus 3. Combine like terms in the middle, so I get plus 4x. And bring down the front, bring down the back. X squared plus 4x plus 3. This matches our question up here. So that means, yes, it is equivalent because it is equal. They're the same thing. It's just written out in a different way. So that one's correct. I'm going to do the second one. I'm going to use a different color here. I'm going to do this one here. I'm going to put a little red star next to it. I'm going to write it down. We'll put it to the right. X parentheses x squared plus 4x parentheses plus 3. So let's go ahead and get rid of our parentheses first. So I'm going to distribute. Okay. So our first jump, we have x times x squared. Just add your exponents. So I have x to the power of 3. And then x times 4x is plus 4x squared. Okay, our parentheses are gone. I'm going to bring down this plus 3. There's nothing else I can combine, so this would be the final answer. Since these two here do not match, the x cubed plus 4x squared plus 3, and then also this one here, the x squared plus 4x plus 3, it does not match. So technically, no, they are not equivalent. They are not equal. So that is not a solution. Okay, so since we got a different answer, that means it is not equivalent. You would not check that one or you would not select it. And let's go on to our last one. I'll use a new color. We'll use blue. This one here, I'll put a heart next to it. Okay, our last one, it's 2x squared plus 5x minus 3. This is going to be kind of similar to the stuff yesterday. X squared plus x minus 6. Okay, we're subtracting. So let's go ahead and see here. We have 2x squared minus x squared. So just subtract. 2x squared minus 1x squared is 1x squared. And then my next one, we've got the positive 5x, positive x. If it helps, you can write it on the side. 5x minus 1x. 5x minus 1x is positive 4x. And then our last one, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. We have negative 3 minus, be careful with the minus, it's negative 6. But be careful, minus a negative really turns into a positive. So it's really negative 3 plus 6, which is positive 3. So here's my plus 3. Okay, 1 is invisible, so I erase that 1. So x squared plus 4x plus 3, these things are equal. So that means they are equivalent. That means this is also a solution. Okay, if you were to go through and finish out the rest of them, checking the last two, you would see that they come out to something different. So that means they're not equal, they're not equivalent. So that's why those ones you would not check them off. Okay, so hopefully that helped you guys. I know some of you guys don't like to speak up and ask for help, but it's okay. I'm sure there's other people that also have questions on it too. So let's go get started on our assignment for today. Let me look at the notes really quickly from yesterday. Some of you joined, some of you did not. These are the notes that we took yesterday, so hopefully you have them next to you. If not, then you might want to get them and pull them off and reference them if you have questions. But these are the notes that we took. It's the same exact topic, factoring difference of squares. We're just doing the assignment on it today. You are only going to be doing the even numbers. Oops, if I can turn my pen on. You're doing the even numbers only. Okay, so let's go through. I'm going to have you guys pick, since you're only doing the even numbers, go through and pick a couple of them that you guys would like to go over together. Pick maybe like 3 questions you guys would like to do together, because I think most of you guys did pretty good with this yesterday. Go ahead and type in the chat what 3 questions you would like to go over. And remember, you're only picking even numbers. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. Tell me like 3 of those even numbers that you would like to go over together, because you're going to also have to do those ones too. So you might as well pick 3 that we can go over. So I see 12, 22, 24. I'm going to go through and circle 12, 22, 24, 18, 20, 24, 18, 20, 24. And I know some of you guys might mention other ones, so I'll try and see which ones are the most difficult. I'll do like 3 or 4 questions together. Anyone want to go over any other ones? The top half of the paper is going to be a little bit easier than the bottom half. So I guess I'll go ahead and get started. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 out of about 12. I'll do like 4 of these here. The first one I'll do is number 9 though, because that one's kind of a weird one here. Or sorry, 12. I saw 9 in it, so that's why I said 9. I'm sorry. So your directions for this top half of your paper, it says factor each polynomial if possible. Check your answer using FOIL. Okay, so I'm going to do number 12. So first thing you want to do is check and see that we have a minus sign so we can factor out. Let's go ahead and start writing our answer. I'm going to set up my 2 sets of parentheses. Okay. And we need to figure out what is the square root or what times what is 9v. Remember, these have to be the same thing. And you can also break it down with just the numbers. What times what is 9? Just look at the coefficient first, the number. What times what is 9? It's got to be the same number. I see a 3. Perfect. So 3 times 3 is 9. Perfect. Now let's look at our variable part. We have a v to the power of 4. I'm going to put a v here, v here. Remember, if you have an exponent that's higher than 2, just cut that exponent in half. What is half of 4? Or think of 4 divided by 2 is 2. So we're going to go ahead and split the exponent in half. Cut in half the exponent. So now I've got a power of 2, power of 2. Because remember, it has to be the same thing. 3v squared. 3v squared. You can even double check. 3v squared times 3v squared. 3 times 3 is 9. And then add your exponents so we get 9v to the power of 4. Perfect. We did it correct. Let's go on to our next one. The 100. We need these two things to be the same thing. What times what is 100? Same number. Or what's the square root of 100? What times what is 100? And you can think in your head, you can go through all of them. 1 times 1 is 1. 2 times 2 is 4. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 4 is 16. Keep going until you get to 100. Or some of you just already know it. And yep, I see lots of you guys typing in 10. Perfect. Here's my 10. Here's my 10. They're the same thing. And then all we have to do is just fix our signs. For your final answer, we've got 3v squared, 10. 3v squared, 10. Perfect. All we need to do is one of them needs to be a plus sign and one needs to be a negative sign. So plus sign, minus sign, and then double check. Positive 10 times negative 10. 10 times negative 10 equals negative 100. Here's my negative 100. If it matches, then you did it correct. Okay, so that's an easy, quick way to check your work by doing this over here. Or if you want, you can FOIL it out first, outer, inner, last, kind of like we did with our kickoff there to check your work. But that's your final answer there, the 3v squared plus 10 and then 3v squared minus 10. The only difference is plus sign, minus sign. Everything else is matching there. Okay, so that was number 12. Let's keep on going. Let's see. I'm trying to see which ones are more. Let's do number 18. Yeah, we'll do number 18 next. Oops, let me read the directions first. Our directions for the bottom half of the paper says factor each polynomial. Look for a GCF first, okay? So let me go back to our notes. Top half of your paper is going to be like this first section of the notes. And the bottom half of your paper is going to be like the bottom half, the second page of the notes, where you had to factor something out of it first. Okay, so we're looking at number 18. So this is kind of like what we did factoring. This was before spring break. So I'm going to put one set of parentheses, and we're going to take something out. Okay. For number 18, let's look at just the numbers, the coefficients. What can I divide? What's my GCF, the greatest common factor of 8 and 18. What can I divide both of these numbers by? So 8 divided by what? And 18 divided by what? What's the biggest number I can divide both of these by? And it helps if you focus on your smaller number. Look at the 8. Think of all of your options. We can do 8 divided by 1, 8 divided by 2, 8 divided by 4, and we can also do 8 divided by 8. What's the biggest number we can divide both 8 and 18 by? GCF of 8 and 18. And I see someone said a 2. 2. And yep, I also got 2. We can divide both of these by 2. That's going to be the biggest number. So let's go ahead and take out a 2. And let's factor out the numbers. We've got 8 divided by 2 is 4. And then negative 18 divided by 2 is negative 9. Perfect. Now let's look at our variables. Okay. Can I factor out the variable a? This is from before spring break. Remember, in order to take out a variable, it needs to be at every single term. That specific variable needs to be at every term. Currently, we only have an a at the first term, so I cannot take it out. You guys are right, so I'm going to rewrite a squared. And then same thing with this b squared. I cannot take it out, so I'm just going to rewrite b squared. Okay, so there is my first step, the GCF. Okay, now I'm going to factor it out. This is kind of what we've been doing from before. We're going to factor this here. So here's my 2 sets of parentheses, and then I'm just going to bring down this 2. Everything else is the same. So now let's see. What times what is 4a squared? Let's see if you guys can do it all at once. Think about what times what is 4, and then what times what is a squared. Remember, this has to be the same thing. What times what is 4, and what times what is a squared? I see 2a times 2a. Let's check it out. Let's write 2a, 2a. I'm going to write it over here, 2a times 2a. 2 times 2 is 4. A times a is a squared. Perfect. It matches. Okay, so that one's done. Let's try our other one here. We need to see what times what, same thing, is negative 9, or sorry, we'll just look at the number. Don't even worry about the sign right now. 9b squared. 3b times 3b, perfect. 3b, 3b. Let's write it out. 3b times 3b. 3 times 3 is 9. B times b is b squared. There's my 9b squared. It matches. Perfect. Okay, so we pretty much have our answer there, 2a, 3b. 2a, 3b. They need to be exactly the same. The only difference is one has a plus sign and one has a minus sign. And then you are all finished. You can put a box around it, and that is your final answer for number 18. Okay? So while I figure out which one we're going to do next, go ahead and type in the chat. Tell me how you guys feel about this topic now. Yesterday, most of you guys were like at a 3. So give me like a 1 to 5. Tell me how you guys are feeling about this topic now that we've done a little bit more practice and it's been another day now. And you can go ahead and keep typing in there. I see you guys' responses, 4, 4, 4. Okay. Awesome. So we're feeling better than yesterday. That's good. Yay. Awesome. Oh, we got a 5 in there. Perfect. Yay. Perfect. Awesome. Okay, so that was number 18. I'm trying to see which one we should do next because I don't want to do all 3. I'll do like, how many have I done so far? 1, 2. I'll do 2 more questions. Let's do, we'll do 20 and then 22 because those ones are a little different. Let's do number 20 next. Whoops, number 20. Okay, so first we're going to factor something out of this. So let's look at our numbers first. What number can I factor out? What, or 81 divided by what? And this negative 1 divided by what? You can always factor out at least one number. And if you have a 1 for one of your options, the only thing you can divide that by is 1. So you can go ahead and take out a 1 and then divide. 81 divided by 1 is 81, and then negative 1 divided by 1 is negative 1. Okay, so this is kind of a weird one. That's why I picked this one. And then we'll look at our variable. Can I take out a variable here from number 20? Can I factor out a variable from number 20? Yes, we can. The reason why is because we have it at every single term. So I'm going to take out an m. What is the exponent of m that I can take out? What exponent can I take out? I see 2. Perfect. You're going to take out the smallest exponent. And for this one here, our options are either 4 or 2. The smaller number is 2. So I'm going to take out m to the power of 2. And then let's go ahead and divide. M to the power of 4 divided by m to the power of 2. Just subtract your exponents. 4 minus 2 is 2. Okay, so there's my first one. And then we've got m to the power of 2 divided by m to the power of 2. And then subtract your exponents. 2 minus 2 is 0. Okay, let's clean this up. Let's go through, since we factored it all out, let's clean it up. And this one here, the first term, the 1m squared, I can erase the 1, it's invisible. And then this 81m squared, I can't erase anything there, it's already simplified. And then this last one here, the negative 1m to the power of 0. Anything to the power of 0, let's do that first. Our m to the power of 0 is really equal to what? This is from before spring break. And I mentioned it yesterday too. Anything to the power of 0 is 1. Perfect. I see you guys typing it in there. So I'm going to change this to a times 1. Okay, and then we can simplify it even more. Go ahead and multiply. Negative 1 times 1, or anything times 1 is just itself. So I'm going to erase this negative, or sorry, that times 1. Okay, so then from here, this is what we're going to factor for number 20. I've got my 2 sets of parentheses. I'm going to bring down this m squared. Okay, now we need to figure out what times what is 81m squared. Remember, it needs to be the same thing. What times what is 81m squared? Think of your numbers. What times what is 81? And then what times what is m squared? See if you can do it all together in one step when you type out your answer. So take a second to think about it. Remember, it needs to be the same thing. So I see someone wrote a 9. Let's see if we can get it all figured out. I see 9m times 9m. Give you guys a couple more seconds. And yep, we got 9m times 9m. Let's double check here. 9m times 9m. Multiply your numbers so we get 81. And then m squared, add your exponents. It matches, so it's perfect. Okay, let's go on to our next one. The 1. What times what is 1? Same number. What times what is 1? You don't really have many options here. Try not to think too hard about it. It's not too difficult. I know some people tend to overthink things. What times what is 1? One, perfect. 1 times 1 is 1. Here, I'm going to write it out. 1 times 1 is 1. Okay, try not to overthink it. I know a lot of you guys are like, oh my gosh, what is 1 times what is 1? Don't overthink it. It's just 1. Okay, so we've got 9m, 1, and then we've got 9m, 1. All we need to do is put our signs. What 2 signs should I put there? Should I put 2 plus signs, 2 minus signs, or am I going to do a plus sign and a minus sign? What signs am I going to put there inside those circles for my final answer? So I put 2 plus signs, 2 minus signs. I see some plus and minus, plus and minus. Perfect. You guys are right. Plus and minus. And then that is it. That's the only difference between the 2 sets of parentheses. And then you're all finished. Okay, so we did this over here to check our work nice and easy. Another way to do it, like I said, FOIL first, outer, inner, last. Do that. And then you would distribute the m squared. You would do that last. Okay. That's number 20. Number 20 is all finished. This right here in the box, that's your final answer. That's just for you to go back and check your work. We'll do number 22 to end it off for today. Number 22. Okay, so let's first factor something out. Let's look at just the numbers. Just the numbers. What can I factor out? What's the GCF greatest common factor of 2 and 200? 2 divided by what? And 200 divided by what? What's the biggest number I can divide both of these ones by? 2. 2. Perfect. Easier way to do it. Remember, look at your smaller number. 2. We can only do 2 divided by 1, 2 divided by 2. So let's take out a 2. And then let's simplify. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And then 200 divided by 2 is negative 100. We could negative 200 divided by 2 is negative 100. And then let's look at our variables. Looking at our variables now. We're taking something out. Can I take out the variable x? Can I take out the variable x? Yes, I can, because remember, you need to have the variable at every single term. So let's take out an x. What exponent am I going to be taking out? X to the power of what? 1. Perfect. You're taking out the smaller exponent. That's the invisible 1. So let's go ahead and divide. X to the power of 3 divided by x to the power of 1. Just subtract your exponents. 3 minus 1 is 2. Okay, for my second term over here by the 100, what's my new exponent for x? The one that's by the 100. What's my new exponent for x? 0. Perfect. Just subtract, because it's x to the power of 1 divided by x to the power of 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. Perfect. So now we've got our answer here. Let's just go ahead and simplify, clean up some stuff. Okay, this first term here, I can erase the power of 1 because the exponent of 1 is invisible. My second term, 1x squared, I can erase the coefficient of 1 because it's invisible. I don't need it there. My last term here, we know anything to the power of 0 is really just times 1. And then let's simplify one step further. Negative 100 times 1, or anything times 1 is, and whatever that anything is. So I'm just going to erase, so this is just a negative 100. If you can go x to the power of 1 divided by x to the power of 1, and then just get your answer, you know that there's going to be like nothing left here, that's fine. You don't have to go through and erase like 4 different things. You can go through and just write your final answer there. I'm fine with that as well. Okay, let's go ahead and finish this out. Now we can go ahead and do what we've been working on yesterday and today. Bring down this to x. Now let's think, what times what, same thing, is x squared? What times what is x squared? Yep, x times x. Add your exponents and we get x squared. So here's my x, here's my x. Perfect. Now let's look at the 100. What times what is 100? Same number. What times what is 100? 10. Perfect. 10 times 10 equals 100. 10, 10. Okay, all we need to do is put our signs in there, plus sign, minus sign, and then you are all finished. That is it for number 22. You can FOIL it out, check your work, or you can do just this stuff over here on the right to check it to make sure it matches, and then you're good to go. As long as you've got different signs, then it's correct. Okay, so let me go ahead and zoom out here. Let me review really quickly what you guys are working on for your assignment. You're only doing the even numbers, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. You're doing all of those even numbers. Make sure you show your work like I've been doing here, the little stuff on the side, or FOIL it out to check your answers. And then once you're all finished, take a picture, submit it on Schoology. And then that is it for today. We'll have another meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m. and we're on week 2. So I know it's a little confusing and I'm sorry. And don't forget, I'm going to go back to the very first thing that we did because some of you joined late. The kickoff assignments, the FSA review, technically prepping you guys for the Algebra EOC. Don't lose that stuff. Make sure you do it day by day because you're submitting at the end of the quarter for a big test grade. It's a big, easy A. Make sure you hold on to it. Don't lose it, please, because it's super important. Easy A grade, okay? But that's it for today. If you have no questions for me, you can go ahead and log out, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow. Just make sure you say something in the chat, please, okay? But if you have questions, I'll still stay here for a few more minutes.